film begins by showing a beautiful view of a beach. Throughout the movie, we're never told the name of this beach or where it's located. But one thing's clear. A group of teenagers is seen partying by the shore at night. If you count them, there are about 15 of them in total. In the middle of the party, one of the guys makes a rule. No one is allowed to use their phones during the party. So everyone collects their phones and puts them in the car trunk. Not long after, two guys show up carrying a large, slimy chunk of something. They say they found this strange object not far from the beach. Without realizing it, that very thing will soon bring disaster upon them. In the morning, a girl named Kylie wakes up first. Not long after, a guy named Mitz also wakes up. Both of them, staying at the lifeguard's hut, look out to see their friends still asleep inside the car. Kylie notices her boyfriend Jonah sleeping beside her friend Sionda, meaning Jonah has been cheating with Kylie's own friend. Meanwhile, another guy named Vince and his brother Ronnie are awake in the back seat, while a girl named Marcia wakes up on a beach chair nearby. Then Kylie spots a seagull looking for food, but suddenly the bird is sucked straight into the sand. Marcia, still half asleep, tries to step down from her chair. Kylie shouts for her not to step on the sand, but it's too late. Marcia's foot sinks in, and suddenly her leg feels heavy. She can't lift it at all. Her friends panic, not knowing what's happening. At that moment, Ronnie's girlfriend Vince tries to help her. He jumps out of the car, but right away, his own feet sink too. He meant to save her, but ends up needing help himself. His face, pressed against the sand, starts to be eaten away by something underneath. Blood pours down as his skin tears apart. Moments later, both Vince and Marcia are dragged completely under the sand. A horrifying morning, one none of them ever saw coming. Seeing their two friends die in an instant, everyone panicked. They planned to call the police, but then realized all their phones had been collected and locked inside the car trunk. Of course, Mitz, the one who made that stupid rule, was immediately blamed by everyone. To make things worse, they had secretly entered a beach that was actually closed to the public because the seawater had already been contaminated. Jonah, who was still inside the car, tried to start the engine, but the car battery was completely dry. He'd forgotten to replace it before they came here. As a result, the car wouldn't move at all. Curious about the creature beneath the sand, Kylie decided to lure it out. She reached down with her hand, gently touching the surface of the sand. And then it appeared, a strange hair-like creature, thin and almost invisible to the eye. Shortly after, Gilbert, one of their friends, woke up and found himself trapped inside a trash bin. Honestly, it was really heartbreaking to watch. He tried to get out, shaking the bin over and over again. But suddenly, his friend screamed, "Don't move at all!" Gilbert froze immediately when they told him there was something hiding under the sand. He was completely shocked after realizing that both of his friends had died because of the quicksand. With no other choice, Gilbert decided to stay still and hide inside the trash bin. Time kept passing by. They all waited in their own spots, hoping someone would come and find them. Meanwhile, Rooney, who had just lost her boyfriend, wrote a letter to her mother in case she didn't make it. With no food and no water, all they could do was wait for something uncertain. Then they suddenly realized something. All the people who joined the party last night were gone. They had all sunk into the sand. In other words, only the 6 of them were left on the beach. Not far from there, Kylie noticed that the huge object they found last night was now split open. Rooney then realized that the giant lump actually looked like a hatched egg. From that, they concluded that the strange creature hiding beneath the sand probably came from that egg. Remember, the seawater at this beach had already been polluted, and that pollution might have created a new kind of creature no one could have imagined. After that, Zona came up with a plan to retrieve the items inside Marcia's bag. Luckily, there were 2 surfboards in the back of the car that he could use to move across the sand. He carefully placed the boards one by one, stepping forward with every move. As he got closer to the chair, the surfboard that Zona stepped on suddenly shifted and moved further away. Zona kept trying to keep his body from touching the sand at all. However, the parasite suddenly emerged from the beach sand and touched Zona's stomach. Fortunately, he was still able to hold on and jump onto the chair. Moments later, his stomach was injured from being bitten by the parasites. Zona looked as if he were poisoned. His face turned pale, and his body began to weaken. Gasping for breath, he said that his stomach felt like it had been stung by 1,000 jellyfish. Enduring the pain, he opened Marcia's bag and found some canned drinks. Finally, one by one, he gave them water to drink. But when Zona threw a drink to Meats, he suddenly felt sharp pain. This startled Meats so much that the wooden edge of the stairs loosened on its own. Zona's stomach wound also appeared to be getting worse and began to fester. In pain, Zona could only lie on the chair, while his 5 friends grew increasingly confused. They began to panic, thinking about how they could survive in this place. Whether they liked it or not, they had to retrieve the phone in the car trunk. Rooney planned to open the trunk by stepping on the car bumper, but as the trunk began to open, a patrol car suddenly blared its horn incessantly. Moments later, Rooney slipped, and the fingers on his right hand got caught in the trunk door. Wow, what a frustrating mess. If you wanted to come help, it would have been better to come earlier, rather than panicking with the horn like that. Poor Rooney. This man was a lifeguard at the beach. He asked what Kylie and her friends were doing on the closed beach. Kylie then explained that there was something unusual under the sand. The lifeguard, not believing them, immediately got out of his car. Strangely, the parasites in the sand could not harm his feet. They wondered how he could walk without getting injured at all. Since nothing happened, the lifeguard became even more skeptical of their words. Then Meats explained that the man wasn't harmed by the parasites because of the leather shoes he was wearing. At that moment, the lifeguard ordered Kylie and Meats to come closer, but both of them clearly refused to obey. The angry lifeguard immediately threatened them by pulling out a can of pepper spray. At that moment, his car keys fell onto the sand. He tried to pick them up, but his hands suddenly became heavy and immobile. Kylie told the lifeguard to use the pepper spray. Immediately, the man sprayed the parasites emerging from the sand. Unfortunately, half of his hand got severed, and he bled heavily. Not long after, he fell and was sucked into the sand. From that incident, Meats realized that the morning was extremely important. He planned to wrap his legs with a towel and run away immediately. When she threw the towel, Meats fell due to the loosened edge of the wooden plank. He lay on the sand and began to be devoured by the parasites. His legs and arms slowly sank into the sand, while his friends could only watch, unsure of what to do. In a panic, Kylie suddenly had a brilliant idea: to give the edge of the wooden stairs to her, who was in the car. Kylie then jumped from the lifeguard's house to the car. Together, they helped Rooney free his trapped fingers. Rooney's 4 fingers were successfully freed and wrapped in a thick towel. Meanwhile, Gilbert's half-trapped body started to bleed heavily. Meats placed the wooden plank so they could slowly cross to Zona's chair. She carefully crossed while maintaining balance and successfully reached the chair. Kylie also managed to reach the chair. However, when it was Rooney's turn, he slipped and fell onto the sand. Instantly, the parasites pulled Rooney into the sand. Unbeknownst to them, the parasites attempted to enter the trash bin. Gilbert then came up with the idea to reach the patrol car. He used the method previously taught by Meats. After wrapping all his legs with towels, he ran to the car and managed to climb on top. Suddenly, Gilbert began to cough up blood. The parasites had made a hole and entered through under the trash bin. Instantly, Gilbert was sucked into the sand and disappeared. Even worse, he slipped, hitting his head and losing consciousness. Kylie and Zona could only wait until she woke up. That night, she finally regained consciousness and found a life raft on top of the patrol car. Without thinking twice, she deployed the raft, climbed on it, and rescued Kylie and Zona one by one. They stood on the raft and got into the car. Unfortunately, Zona's condition worsened, and he died inside the vehicle. Honestly, I thought he would try to drive and escape the beach, but he died because of the parasites. In the end, Kylie and she could only wait, as they couldn't drive at all. The next day, a man suddenly peeked through the car window and woke them up. The man seemed able to stand on the sand without being bothered by the parasites. Finally, Kylie and she descended calmly onto the sand. Meanwhile, Zona had died with a festering stomach. At the end of the film, a swarm of parasites is seen swimming toward another beach. In short, the only survivors of this disaster were Zona's girlfriend and mistress, while Jono had already died. All right, guys, that's all for the discussion of the movie The Sand. See you in the next videos, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.